A new alliance emerges against the dollar, and Saudi Arabia is part of it. Trump threatens. Will we witness a real collapse of the dollar? What is this alliance? What is Saudi Arabia's role in it? We will cover all these points today, so stay with us. In February 2025, US President Donald Trump surprised the world with a serious threat, specifically against the BRICS group, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, the United Arab Emirates, and other countries. He declared that any country attempting to replace the dollar with another currency would face strong economic measures and tariffs that could reach up to 100% on trade with the United States. BRICS is an international organization that was founded with the idea of establishing an alternative financial system focused on trade transactions among BRICS nations. Its long-term goal is to break free from the dominance of the dollar and its economic hegemony by conducting transactions either in local currencies or by introducing a unified currency for the group in the future. This would ensure economic and financial independence and protect these countries from the pressures that the United States exerts using the dollar. However, despite the increasing number of countries joining BRICS, it does not yet pose a real threat to the United States because, at this stage, it remains merely an idea and has not officially adopted a dedicated currency. So, what is the alliance that the US has threatened? In 2021, a group of countries, including China, Hong Kong, the UAE, and Thailand, launched a project called mBridge. In June 2024, Saudi Arabia officially joined the platform. The goal of this project is to coordinate between central banks to accelerate international payments using digital currencies, thereby reducing costs, ensuring security, and avoiding the US financial system, which is slower and more expensive. However, in a pivotal moment that shifted the balance, the UAE took a bold step during the 50th anniversary celebration of the UAE Central Bank in January 2024. Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed, Vice President of the UAE, made a significant move. He transferred 50 million dirhams to China. So, what is the issue here? This payment was entirely different. It was made using the digital dirham through the mBridge platform, bypassing the global financial system altogether. To understand the impact of this, let's break it down. Normally, if a Saudi business wants to pay a Chinese company, it must first convert Saudi riyals into US dollars. Because the global financial system does not allow direct transactions in riyals. Additionally, Chinese yuan is not readily available, so the business incurs conversion fees from riyals to dollars. Then, the bank processing the payment sends the transaction details through the SWIFT banking messaging system to a private bank associated with the US-based clearinghouse interbank payment system, which oversees all dollar transactions worldwide. CHIPS completes the transaction and notifies the recipient's bank in China. Trade deals, it has full oversight and control over them. This system presents two major challenges: privacy. The US can monitor any transactions, whether they involve individuals, companies, or even governments. It also allows the US to impose economic sanctions on any country by cutting it off from this system, as seen with Iran and Russia. Efficiency. Transaction fees pose a significant financial burden on individuals and companies, costing billions of dollars annually. Additionally, transactions often take days to the required approvals at every stage. Global concerns over US financial dominance have led to the creation of new platforms like mBridge, and this is where America's real problem begins. If countries manage to trade using their own digital currencies, demand for the dollar will decline, devaluing it, and with it, the US economic control. Why is the US particularly worried about Saudi Arabia joining this project? In June 2024, Saudi Arabia officially joined mBridge. This was when the US started feeling the real threat, because Saudi Arabia is not just any country in the global economy. It is the world's energy capital and the largest oil exporter. The dollar has long relied on the petrodollar agreement, under which Saudi Arabia sells oil to the US in dollars in exchange for military and logistical support. This agreement did not require Saudi Arabia to sell oil exclusively in dollars, and in fact, the kingdom has conducted oil sales in various currencies. However, the majority of transactions have been in dollars. A key example is that in 2023, the first oil deals were conducted in Chinese yuan, meaning this shift is not just speculation, but an emerging reality. As China is Saudi Arabia's largest oil customer, it has a strong interest in using the yuan instead of the dollar. In response, the US has aggressively pressured participating countries, even pushing the Bank for International Settlements (BIS) to withdraw from the project. But is this enough to stop mBridge? In my opinion, China and the UAE are fully committed to the project. Saudi Arabia, with its enormous economic influence, is unlikely to pass up this opportunity. Russia and India are also interested in distancing themselves from the dollar due to US sanctions. In other words, the world is actively moving toward a new economic system, and the US sees this shift as a serious threat. Are we witnessing the collapse of dollar hegemony? Let's be realistic, the dollar won't collapse overnight. However, it is gradually losing its power, especially with initiatives like mBridge. If this trend continues, we might see a completely different financial world in the coming years. The bigger question is, will the US accept this change, or will it resort to more aggressive tactics to stop it? And will Saudi Arabia and the UAE continue with this project despite the threats? These questions remain open, but one thing is certain: we are living through one of the biggest economic transformations of the modern era. Share your thoughts in the comments